Hello, a very warm welcome to you. This is the news on NTA International. I am Charles Alpha. You can watch this news on Vision TV 24/7 on other social media platforms displayed on your screen. Hannah Olanka is our sign language interpreter. The first headline. Minister of Information, Hamas needs to shun fake news, says communication is pivotal in transforming Nigeria. Nigeria's apex CBN monetary policy bank raised monetary policy rate by 200 basis to 24.75%. And Togo adopts parliamentary system of government. A Director General of the World Trade Organization, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, says the body has launched some programs to improve standards for some crops in Nigeria for economic diversification. While hosting President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, Dr. Iweala added that measures are also in place to control illegal fishing.
Program some capacity building from the Standards and Trade Development Facility to help with improving sanitary and phytosanitary standards for some of the crops in Nigeria, so that it can help with diversifying the economy to even fisheries. One of the senators, raised the issue of illegal fishing and mining of the waters of Nigeria. And it was with great pleasure that we explained about the Fisheries Subsidies Agreement Part 1. And hopefully we'll close Part 2 so that this will help control illegal and unreported fishing and overfishing of water.
And we came to once thank her for the great job she's doing for the entire world, and then the policies put in place to streamline and ensure the workability of world trade.
We are going home more refreshed because we have seen a space here for Africa to thrive in business and in trade. We discussed a lot of issues, including African trade agreement and how the WTO is going to work with us towards achieving it.
Well, the Monetary Policy Committee meeting of the Central Bank has raised monetary policy rate by 200 basis points from 22.75% to 24.75%. The Central Bank governor, who read the communique at the end of the meeting, also says recapitalization of bank is being expedited.
The committee at this meeting focused on the current inflationary pressures and the need to anchor inflation expectations, as well as ensure sustained exchange rate stability. These considerations underscore the importance of the CBN's commitment to the price stability mandate and the need to urgently bring inflation under control to ensure that purchasing power of ordinary Nigerians is restored in the short to medium term.
The committee calls for full implementation of federal government agriculture policy and program to boost food production. In other news, the power of a spokesperson comes with great responsibility to communicate with clarity, and the evolving global media landscape makes their works more complex than ever before, with the rise of social media where information spreads at a speed of light. Today, the spokesperson is described not only a gatekeeper of truth, but also a defender of the public at the mercy of fake news merchants and their impressionable mercenaries. Haman Jabani reports that this came to the fore at a summit put together by the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations in collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation.
The summit is aimed at transforming the landscape of communication in Nigeria, strengthening the capacities of spokespersons while equipping them with the skills needed to craft compelling narratives for national development. Presentations by various speakers at the opening of the first National Spokesperson Summit of the NIPR revolve around the theme Change Narratives, Change Society. Vice President Kashin Shettima represented believes the crucial role that effective communication plays in shaping narrative, building trust, and fostering understanding in the society cannot be taken for granted.
As experts, there's not much I can ask of you other than to remind you to always listen and internalize feedback. You must engage with people of diverse perspectives, foster dialogues, and build consensus. This is a small price to pay for aggregating the needs and expectations of this nation. I'm confident that we will leave this place better prepared for our collective and individual roles in refocusing global conversation about Nigeria for all the right reasons.
Trust remains a critical element in building relationships, be it personal, group, and even at community levels. As spokespersons, therefore, we need to make conscious effort to build trust and restore hope wherever we are. Building and maintaining trust must be a collective responsibility. For trust to have value, it must be anchored on authenticity, transparency, and consistency.
Speakers believe that the spokespersons must be aware that they play a crucial role in shaping perception, disseminating accurate information, and fostering trust, as the nation's peace, stability, and development can only be attained by how the spokespersons communicate.
What has happened is that many of us do not realize that you cannot build a successful nation without the functions and tools of public relations. Those who have done it before would tell you that reputation is a core asset. The reputation of any nation determines the kind of people that would come to such a nation. Therefore, it is time for us to take the issue of reputation very seriously.
As we play a major role as spokespeople, let us remember the profound impact our words can have on shaping perceptions and driving change. May this summit be an avenue where we not only learn from each other, but also inspire one another to communicate with clarity, empathy, and purpose.
In his presentation with the title Change Narrative, Change Society, Case Study of Successful Spokespersons in History, former Director General of the Nigerian Television Authority, Professor Tony Iradia, said spokespersons are to build a national consensus on the appropriate narrative that can facilitate good governance and development in Nigeria.
You must ensure that not only the external public but also the internal public is put together in your plan, because the internal public is the engine driver. And a communication must be effective. Both content and context are important. The key point is persuasion, and must take all stakeholders, especially the public, along with what you do. You must always promote positives and reduce negatives.
Captains of industry in their comments say, gone are the days spokespersons can only issue press releases. Now, certain situations demand not to even speak to the press, as certain actions will take care of the situation.
But we have had negative narratives that if we do not get rid of them, or we do not find a way to neutralize them, they will keep on stopping or impinging on whatever positive things that we're going to do now.
And I want to challenge spokespersons. How do you rapid response to fake news? It's the biggest challenge in Nigeria today, and perhaps all over the world. The lie suddenly becomes the truth. What do you as spokespersons do about that?
The summit is expected to facilitate the emergence of a national consensus for effective communication based on a collective narration of the professionals' shared value, regardless of their background. Hamman Jabani, NTA News.
Nigerians have been tasked to unite in the fight against corruption and all forms of injustices for the betterment of all. This dominated discussions at a symposium in Abuja. Timothy Yusuf reports that the symposium organized by the School of Politics, Policy and Governance is to further advance the continued growth of the nation's democratization process.
It was a gathering of seasoned political actors and administrators and many others from all spheres of life, re-emphasizing the urgent need for decisive action to address governance shortcomings is the major agenda here.
Nigeria has a purpose in Africa, but we are yet to realize it. We have been a sleeping giant.
What is the purpose of us as a collective, as Nigerians? Many societies asked that question about purpose, and it enabled them to have the right conversations out of the right questions.
The caution against placing sole responsibility on anti-graft agencies like the Economic and Financial Crime Commission, EFCC, stressing the collective duty to tackle corruption at all levels of society. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Still on political matters, New Nigerian People's Party NNPP has raised concerns about plans by the former chairman of Ogun State chapter of the party, Sunday Ogini, to allegedly frame up some of its members in a criminal act. Addressing news conference in Abuja, National Working Committee of the party alleged that the former chairman, who was expelled from the party last year with the backing of the state government, has made a case of stealing against the party, accusing the officers of burgling his office and making away the sum of 7.5 million naira. He noted that the two officers who took over the state secretariat of the party after the expulsion of the former chairman did so with the protection of the police, and wondered if the money was stolen in the presence of security agents.
Doing with 7 million naira in his office. Is this not against the Money Laundering Act? Why should the party money be in his drawer when it should be in the party account?
Classical as it was, these young gentlemen were charged to court, and we are also very concerned now because we felt that several other things have been happening, and I think the national body here has seen enough or heard enough to feel that we have to call out the APC and its leadership in Ogun, just to tell them that please do not meddle in the internal affairs of the New Nigeria People's Party.
Elsewhere in other parts of Africa, Togolese parliament has adopted a new constitution, moving the country from a presidential to a parliamentary system of government. Chukuna Songwabize reports that the constitution now empowers the parliament to elect the president of the country.
The change to the constitution proposed by a group of lawmakers, mostly from the ruling party, the Union for the Republic, was adopted almost unanimously with 89 votes in favor, 1 against and 1 abstaining. The vote comes less than a month before the next legislative elections in Togo, but it is not yet known when the new constitution will come into force. The new constitution also provides for a single 6-year term for the president, as against the current 5-year 2-term tenure, as well as the position of president of the Council of Ministers with full authority and power to manage the affairs of the government and to be held accountable. Chairman of the National Assembly's Committee on Constitutional Laws, Legislation and General Administration, Chichao Chelema,
un nouveau régime politique plus représentatif,
said the head of state is practically deprived of his powers in favor of the president of the Council of Ministers, who becomes the person who represents the Togolese Republic abroad and who effectively leads the country in its day-to-day management. In 2019, members of parliament reversed the constitution to limit presidential terms to 2, but it did not apply retrospectively, leaving the president, Furen Nasiba, free to stand for the next 2 elections. Nasiba, in power since 2005, succeeded his father, General Nasiba Eyadema, who seized power in a coup more than 50 years ago. The new text will mark Togo's entry into its 5th republic, with the last major constitutional change dating back to 1992. Chukunonsongwa Bweze, NTA News.
This is the news on NTA International. We will take a break now. Please stay with us for more reports. For staying with us, the Coalition of Civil Society Organizations for Election says the general presidential election of March 24, 2024 generally was conducted peacefully. The group at a media briefing commended the electoral and administrative authorities for properly organizing the voting process. Chukunon Songwabezi has details.
The civil society group also congratulated the candidates, voters, the press, civil society, the forces of defense and security of Senegal for the sense of responsibility and maturity they demonstrated during the election. The mission urged stakeholders to embark on a deliberate pacification to ease tension in the political and electoral space. The mission, while thanking the authorities and particularly the election management bodies for their support, called on the electoral authorities to publish within the required deadlines the results of voting by station to strengthen the transparency of results of the ballot. Some of the recommendations of the group include the establishment of a sponsorship, registration and control system to be managed by non-partisan and independent candidates and civil society, as well as establish within the Election Management Authority a commission for the reception and registration of sponsorships to issue after verification a validation certificate, amongst others. Chukunonsongwa Bweze, NTA News.
Elsewhere, a state of emergency has been declared following a major bridge collapse in the United States port of Baltimore in the early hours of Tuesday after being struck by a container ship, plunging cars and as many as 20 persons into the river below. Rescuers searched for survivors in the Patapsco River after huge spans of the 1.6-mile Francis Scott Key Bridge crumbled into the water. Calvin Cartwright, spokesperson for Baltimore City Fire Department, described the rescue operations as a mass casualty multi-agency event that might go on for many days. Now, ECOWAS is now set to fully implement its policy on science, technology and innovation adopted in 2012 in Cotonou, Benin Republic. At the Consultative General Assembly of the West African Network of National Academies of Science, WANAS, experts agreed on a template for advancing science and technology in the sub-region. Calvin Ibnuaye reports.
The West African Network of National Academies of Science, WANAS, is an offshoot of the resolution of the Council of ECOWAS Ministers in 2018. The body has the mandate to coordinate and bring to fruition ECOWAS aspiration on science and innovation in the sub-region. This meeting is to evaluate the progress made so far and evolve new strategies to ensure that all member states implement tenets of the framework and create a platform for collaboration between the National Academies of Science of ECOWAS countries.
It is imperative to inform you that the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, is desirous to fight hunger and poverty through the utilization of innovation, science and technology. As such, I'd like to further inform you that the ministry is doing the needful in securing the country through our activities and programs.
Monsieur le Secrétaire Exécutif,
the establishment of the WANAS through the holding of a General Assembly
is an important turning point in the promotion of science and technology at regional level.
At the end of the consultative meeting, the location of WANA's headquarters and financing framework, as well as appointment of board members, would have been resolved to enable the body run smoothly. In Abuja, Kelvin Ebonwaye, NTA News.
The European Union and United Nations Industrial Development Organization, UNIDO, have launched 2 new projects in Nigeria worth €9 million. This is in continuation of their commitment to supporting the federal government in advancing Nigeria's green and just transition to net zero through circular economic practices, clean, affordable, and sustainable energy. 2 steering committees made up of representatives of the federal government from the Ministries of Environment, Power and Water, the European Union and the United Nations Industrial Development Organization were inaugurated to drive implementation of these projects in Nigeria. First was the small hydropower development for agro-industry use in Nigeria to increase the capacity of small hydropower, the agricultural value chains and other businesses to enhance livelihoods and boost food security. The second, advancing Nigeria's green and just transition to net zero through circular economic practice that will address pollution and climate change in Nigeria.
That this is essential for our bilateral relationship because we believe that if Nigeria grows, we are also better off in Europe.
The overall goal is to support Nigeria's effort in decarbonizing its economy and achieving a transition to a net zero.
The small hydropower components with a 3-year lifespan and a budget of €5 million will be implemented in 6 geopolitical zones where some dams have been identified, while the advancing Nigeria's economy and just transition to net zero through circular economic practice with the same lifespan and €4 million budget will be implemented in 5 states for the first initial takeoff.
I'm making a pledge on behalf of the beneficiaries of this initiative that they will not disappoint them.
What we're going to do must be rooted around the issue of power. But circular economy is also equally important.
The presidential media team led by the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, was last week in Kano and Jigawa states interfacing with farmers and relevant stakeholders on the efforts of the federal government to ensure food sufficiency in Nigeria. A special package on the visit is on the network service of the NTA at 10:05 p.m. tonight. All NTA stations are advised to hook up. Now, the struggle to raise the dignity of women and girls in Nigeria has received a boost with the non-governmental organization Women of Great Minds Initiative workroom joining the train to alleviate them from issues that hinder their life goals. The delegation from the organization visited the Nigerian Television Authority, the NTA, which it acknowledged has the most reach in Africa, and it is prominent in giving voice to gender equality to seek collaboration and publicity. Director General of the NTA, Saliu Abdul Hamid Dembos, who was represented by the General Manager NTA International, Oganya Simon, promised that the organization would continue to promote gender equality in line with the Nigerian law.
Rooted in creating a supportive and inclusive community where women can thrive, grow, and succeed. We believe that by investing in women, we can create a better world for everyone.
Part of our mandate is to create awareness for issues relating to gender mainstreaming, issues concerning women and the girl child. And I want to assure you that because it is what we do, we, on behalf of DG, pledge that we will provide you media coverage.
Officially established in 2023, Workroom is committed to enhancing the status of women by providing them with requisite skills and resources that will create positive and independent mindsets for them. program is guided by its motto, Empower Women, Empower the World. Next is our weather report. All right, this is where we end the news on NTA International. Many thanks for being part of it. I am Charles Alpha Hannah. Olanka is our sign language interpreter.